me see what I want on the channel.
Pop up.
Pop up on the channel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Well, all right. Give me 1 second. Let me edit the live. I think what the other guys them use are OBS and them
Mm-hmm.
capture this and stream out. I think that's what them do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your live, cut off the live. If you're the live because people go. And that will stay up on your channel.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have
Yeah.
4 people that watch right now.
Okay.
Hold on. Uh, jeez. Yeah, this kind of mess up the whole thing. Well, like the first time we had to do this, so next time
Yeah,
we
but
know.
come off your live.
Oh yeah. All right, well on there. But
Mm-hmm. Or just mute your mic. Mute.
actually, yeah, you know what? Let me do that. Yeah, I'm muted.
Y'all can hear me?
Yep. I'm hearing you.
Okay. Everything good, Shani?
It must start out some bugs. But
Yeah, man. Everything good now. I think we're good now to start off the
okay.
conversation.
All right.
Um,
So so
yeah. So I wanted to start off with with what's going on currently in the politics of Jamaica. So the PNP right now is, in my opinion, don't have a leader, and Mark Golden staying on as the leader for the PNP is going to put the PNP into the wilderness for a long time to come. Because if you look at history, all of the previous PNP leaders, anytime they lose an election, them step down. So you had Dr. Peter Phillips that stepped down in 2020. You had Portia Simpson Miller that stepped down in 2016, and now Mark Golden in 2025. And his claim is that the party want him to stay as president of the PNP, and all the NPs have signed off on it. But in my opinion, that is going to make the PNP weak going forward, because Mark Golden is not a true leader that can lead the PNP party.
well
So,
well what I say about Mark Golden, and I said that from the beginning when I first see him, was he doesn't strike me as a authentic person. It's There's a lot of shady things that I see about him, and the disappointing thing that I think in Jamaica politics today that bothers me is the fact that you don't have two strong party with ideas in Jamaica. You have
well,
you have the JLP, who has ideas and has been making a lot of changes and doing a lot of things to help Jamaica move forward. But you also need a strong PMP, PMP that has good ideas towards. We don't have to agree on the path forward. We just have to agree that the party must have a platform that shows some kind of an idea that you want to make the country better. And what I hear recently in the recent election with Mark Golding and the PMP was a lot of ghetto talk, in my opinion. It's all a lot of voodoo, and that's insulting to Jamaican people, because if you feel like you have to talk to Jamaican people, ghetto talk, in order to get elected, you had said Jamaican people are not intellectually strong enough to understand a very coherent conversation and understand critical thinking, and can understand somebody putting forward an idea and giving a path to accomplishing that idea. They feel like Jamaican people can't understand it. All Jamaican people can understand. Say, "Oh, the dirty boy did this, did that," and that's what I heard in this last election. I did not hear a strong PMP party. No, this is coming from somebody who grew up in a PMP house and has always been a supporter of the PMP party, right? But what I personally see happening in Jamaica right now is that the JLP, and look, you have to, I don't care what you want to say, but you have to give credit where credit is due. For the last 10 years or so, well, 8 9 years or so, since Andrew Holness has being Prime Minister of Jamaica, he has made some significant inroad in bringing Jamaica to a more solvent country. He has made and I dare anybody to argue with me with that with that argument. If you did take a look back at um after Michael Manley, because I think the last true stalwart of Jamaican economy and Jamaican progress was Michael Manley. I think Michael Manley had the similar idea as to what Andrew Holness is doing right now. After Michael Manley, then you had um, PJ Patterson and then Portia Simpson. I believe that PJ Patterson's method and practices and path for Jamaica was wrong because he got rid of a lot of Jamaica's asset during his tenure, right? And Portia Simpson continued those hollowing out of Jamaica's assets. Um, um, uh, 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 um, Andrew Holness now comes in with a different mindset. And what he has done is restore a lot of Jamaica's policy towards where we want to go in the world. And, right now, Jamaica talking about having a surplus, something that has never been talked about or heard of before.
Well,
Jamaica is talking about paying off the IMF or paying down the debt to a significant amount so that you can see where your GDP will now actually benefit the country to grow. So I am very happy with the result of the election in saying that the JLP party retained control of the country, because I felt like if the JLP had lost the retention of the country, we would have gone back to the IMF, would have gone back to hollowing out the assets, starting with getting rid of the surplus by spending it willy-nilly and doing things that wouldn't benefit Jamaica. And then, in addition to that, going back to the IMF to borrow more money to do the things. So I think we would have taken a step back. I think Andrew Holness has an opportunity now to change minds, and I'm hoping that Andrew Holness and the JLP don't take a victory lap because they win the election, but reach out to the PNP side of things, the PNP supporters, and do things to bring them into the fold. Because if Andrew Holness and the JLP continue with the things that they have been doing around crime, around the economy, and they continue to move that way, I would believe at the end of this 4 years, 5 years that they're gonna have, they should probably garner another term. The only problem with that is that in Jamaica's culture, if you're not, we have a dieted culture in Jamaica where we are dieted PMP, dieted JLP, and Andrew, them have to be very careful in upsetting that middle ground, because I think the turnout was very low in this election, and
well,
I think that if they, Mhm.
but me jump in a little bit. Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
I see a lot of things and may
Mhm.
agree with you with
Mhm.
90% of everything that you said.
Right,
So
right.
when you talk about the policies that the PNP had run on this election, um,
Mhm.
there's no policy of the PNP,
They
right?
had none. Yeah,
It
they had no platform.
was all gimmicks, right?
Correct.
And there was no strategy behind their plan, basically. So what the
Correct.
PNP was proposing, for example, with the 3.5 tax cut,
Right.
3.5 threshold that they were offering to the people, was
Mhm.
at first them said they was gonna pay it off with organic growth. So in the debates, Julian Robertson said that he would fund this 3.5.
Hello. We got
Oh,
cut out.
oh,
Yeah.
you can hear.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. I got you. I hear now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So the PNP tax cut, what they proposed, they first said that they was going to fund it with organic growth. Then after they said they would fund it via the budget surplus, right? Which what you were talking about earlier.
Right.
So
So they're gonna hollow out that and give the money to who? Who is the tax? My question is, who is the tax cut gonna benefit?
well, it's not going to benefit the regular Jamaican on it.
It's gonna be the business people and the people with the more money up at top.
Yeah, it's going to benefit the
So
people who
so
I think.
in the
Well,
words of what name the George Bush Senior, trickle down economy.
well, no. So basically, what my belief is, I don't 100% understand the whole threshold system, but the
Mhm.
belief is that if you make I think up to 3.5, you don't pay any taxes. However, what's that's
Oh,
gonna do?
hold on, say that again. If you make up to 3.5 million a year, you don't pay
Yeah,
any taxes.
you don't pay any
How much
taxes.
Jamaica how much
Well,
Jamaican making 3.5 million a year?
well, that is true. That's a good point. But you have to understand with the 3.5, right? Again, not everybody made the 3.5, and also to fund it, you blew a deficit you blow a hole in the budget pretty much. There's gonna be you're gonna have to take the money from somewhere to fund it. So
Of
either you're
course.
going to tax the people them more, and
Hmm.
the election you hear the PNP talk about they were gonna put taxes on import goods, and the
So
PNP,
tariff, in other words, tariff.
yeah, they were talking about tariffs. They said,
Right.
you know, there's other policies that they propose, and they were saying that they were going to raise the money via taxes. Them have to find the money somewhere,
Right.
and them I say I tax them or tax the people them for get
Right.
the money. So none of
So
the policies that they proposed was straight. Was good. It didn't make any sense economically.
but you see, all right, when we talk about tax cut, and people have to understand, you have to pay a tax in order to make the country run. Everybody need to understand, and every Jamaican have to understand that taxes have to be paid in order for the country to succeed. Right? So everybody gotta bear their own burden.
Well,
When you talk about tax cut, typically that is always towards those business people and the people that's making the higher level of money in the country, which are the ones that really don't need the tax cut, and the poor. So what he's talking about, taxing goods that come into Jamaica, which is tariff that will turn out in a, because it's duties, right? So when you bring something into Jamaica, I'm gonna tax it at a higher level, which means the person who's purchasing that is gonna pay that back into into the tax. So who we talking about? The poorer people in Jamaica. Those are the
uh,
ones who are gonna pay. Who are gonna pay that tax cut for the higher, for the rich people. Basically, is what he's saying, but him
well,
saying it without saying it.
no.
Right.
So this is the thing, right?
Mhm.
Initially in 2016, the JLP proposed I think it's the 1.5 tax cut. So
Mhm.
basically, if you make below 1.5, you don't pay any taxes, right?
One
And
point
that,
five million a year.
yeah, that's like, regular Jamaicans will make that money. That means you depend the precipice of
You-
like poverty, and you live
Cool.
in
And you pay no tax, which makes sense.
taxes. So that
Which makes
so
sense.
what that did, it lifted a lot of people out of poverty. Because if you look at
Right.
the Jamaican poverty rate, it has fallen from 18%, I believe, to 8% right now. They cut
Right.
the poverty rate in pretty much half, right?
Mhm.
The 9 years that Andrew's been in office, because of
Right.
the tax cut, and also the increase of the minimum wage
Right.
uh, over time. Because in 9 years Andrew been in office, he almost tripled the minimum wage.
Right.
So those are policies that the JLP have proposed that actually work.
Right.
So what the PNP was trying to do in this election was to mimic what Andrew proposed in
Right.
2016. However, Jamaica, what he's proposing doesn't make any sense, because you have to fund it, right? Because what's gonna
Mhm.
happen? It's gonna blow a hole in the budget. Because where you gonna get the money from to fund that, right? To
Right,
fund 3.5 tax cut, right?
right.
So again, at first them said they was gonna fund this tax cut by organic growth. Then them flip flop and
But
said,
what does that mean? But so when we talk about, you see, this is why I have problems with politicians when they speak, right? Because I'm not a stupid guy, right? I think I'm educated enough. I don't think I'm the most educated person, but I think I'm educated enough, right? And so when you speak to me and you
Mhm.
tell me we are going to fund something via organic growth, what does that mean? Does that mean that what is organic growth? Because of what the country is producing, and you feel like the GDP is the country is
That's
going to
what,
produce enough? What does that mean?
well, that's what they said in the debate. Them just, it looked like them just make it up in the debate and said it was
Right.
gonna be
So,
by
so
organic.
who was debating whomever at that point? Because that would have been my question to them. What
It
does
was,
organic growth means?
it was
Right.
Julian Robertson that proposed that.
That proposed that. You got to
But
explain to me and explain to the people what that means.
yeah, but it's something they proposed, and it didn't go anywhere.
Right, right,
So
right.
that was one of the
The proposal.
proposals, and then them said they were gonna fund it using the budget surplus. So the budget
No.
surplus. So what Jamaica has been doing for the last I guess 9 years now
Mm,
is
mm.
surplus. So we, instead of us spending all the money that we earn for up our GDP, we save some of that money and we take that money and pay down the debt. So
Which is smart.
what Mark Golden is saying is that um, you stop paying down the debt. That is their proposal, that you stop paying the debt down and basically take that money and give it out to people, because they propose a lot of Anansi programs, such as their school bus program. And that's something else that cost them the election, in my opinion, because they talked about the school bus system that Andrew Holness has proposed, the rural school bus program, and they said they were against it. And then they said they were against it,
Uh
and
huh.
then uh, they said they were going to come up with something better. So they said they're going to bring coaster buses and all of this bull crap that they were talking about, which didn't make any sense.
So you know my problem with it with politics in Jamaica, and I'm not blaming it on PNP only. I'm blaming it on both PNP and JLP. My problem with politics in Jamaica is that once you are on the opposition, whether something is good or bad, you feel like you have the need to oppose it. And I think that for every well thinking Jamaicans, whether you're PNP or you're JLP, I think that your goal should be Jamaica supposed to be in a better position. I don't believe in the diarty thing, because today I am saying Andrew Holness should have won the election, and I'm happy that he did. But tomorrow, if a PMP person pop up out of the woodworks and them have these proposals and ideas that make so much sense to me, that those ideas are going to move Jamaica into a better position. And Andrew Holness is not saying that, and he's opposing that. And I feel like I am going to vote for that person. I'm going to go for that person, because my goal is not to be a diarted PMP or a diarted JLP. My goal is for Jamaica to be better. Like right now, I feel we only place that no matter where we are in the world, the only place we have is Jamaica. Because if America kick we out of America right now and we will wind up back in a Jamaica, our only place we can go is Jamaica. So Jamaica prosperity is very important to every single person who was born on that piece of the rock, right? But the problem is that when Andrew and them proposed the school bus, and I've heard the conversation going back and forth. When Andrew Holness them proposed this school bus and they're gonna go through, the PNP find every fault in the world to say why it won't work. No,
Yeah.
guess what happened? They proposed something that is very good, and it's a forward thinking thing, right? Which again, like what you just said a while ago, PNP are trying to propose a different kind of a program, right? And we can have that debate. Here's
Well,
where the debate should lie. The
well,
debate should lie like, what
well,
kind of bus should we have? What
well,
style of bus we should have, and how the bus operate. That's where the debate should be. There should be no question that the bus should exist,
no, well,
right?
so the PNP proposal was instead of getting rid of the taxi man them taking the kids them to school, you give a
Uh-huh.
stipend to the parents. So the stipend would help the students to go to school instead of using the bus program that the government provided. So I guess they would have just stopped using the bus them that Andrew imported from America, and they would start giving out the stipend. And then they said one comment about using coaster buses.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to tell you what's wrong with that? There's a
So
whole lot wrong with that.
a lot of things that's wrong with that, because
There's a
if
whole lot wrong with that.
but if you
One
look,
school, even though you give so
no, no,
so
well, my point. What may I say is
yeah.
that there's a lot wrong with it, because if you
Mhm.
give up money to people, there is more room for corruption. That's one of the big flags then for me. And then another flag for me is the safety of the kids, right? The school bus
Uh-huh.
that Andrew has brought into the country
Uh-huh.
going to it's much more safer than going in
Right.
a taxi and a pile up with different people in a
I agree.
taxi, and you don't
Agree.
have a dedicated system that takes the kids them to school.
Agree.
So I see how the PNP could have gone against such a system. The school bus them that Andrew has imported even has cameras on there. They have cameras to monitor what's going on in the bus. So if anything happened, they can look back at the cameras and see, okay, this is
This is
you know
what
this
all
what
right.
happened.
So,
Also, well, when we
mhm.
finish, also
Yeah.
they even the windows in the bus them have a safety feature, so you can't open the windows all the way, so you can hang out your head. You
Mhm.
only open the windows to get fresh air,
Right,
right?
right.
The bus them accommodate for disabled students and
Mm-hmm.
special students as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how the PNP could have gone against such a system. Like, it doesn't make any sense politically. It's just the fact that they want to find
Fault.
something, yeah, something bad about the system and make the government look bad.
Yeah, and that goes to the point where I make earlier, where I say, not because you're in the opposition means you just need to oppose, right? The school bus system that Andrew Holness them proposed was a
Mhm.
good one. It is a good one, and here's all the problem that's wrong with what. That's why I say this guy Golden doesn't have a plan. He's the wrong leader for the PMP party, and they need to find a better leader. Here's why I say there's wrong with it. One, giving the parents a stipend. So say whatever the dollar amount is that you're gonna give back to the parents in order for them to pay for them kids to go to school. So now your parents are gonna give the kids them the money to pay the taxi fare to go to school. So here's a problem with that. School kids are still gonna pay school kids rate when they go to the taxi. 95% of the problem is that taxi men do not want to carry school kids because they're not paying as much as the adults, right? So that's the first piece. That's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. You're just giving the parents the money to pay the kids to go, pay the taxi man to carry them. But the taxi man still is not going to carry them according to the fact that they can make more money carrying the older people. That's the first piece. Second piece, we know for a fact that taxi business, I grew up in Jamaica. I go to school in Jamaica. I've been through all of these things in Jamaica. We know that taxi men don't drive easy in Jamaica. And when you get inside there, just the environment is a different environment for the school kids. So it's not the best environment. The kids might not love the school bus system, but it's not the best environment for the kids in these taxi systems. So two, you're putting the kids at jeopardy, right?
Mhm.
Three, after the fact that you're giving this money, and like you allude to earlier, that it opens up the door for corruption because you're giving the parents this money, it don't necessarily mean that they're going to use this money to send the kids to school or to pay the taxes. They're going to do what they continue to do. So I don't see how it benefit the child to get to where you got to get to.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of opposing the school bus system is stupid and asinine by the PNP, because every developing country in the world, which Jamaica, by the way, is now versus what it was as a third world country, it is actually a developing country. Every developing country in the world has a school bus or a schooling program for their kids to get to school, for kids to get on the school bus system to get to school. What Andrew and his team has proposed and has done is, in fact, the right thing, because no, the kids have a way to get to school. It doesn't depend on the parents having. If parents have money, if they pay a bus fare, and even that stipend that you talking about giving to them, when you give them that stipend, them use it go buy food because they don't have money in other way if you do whatsoever. No, the kids, that's not a part of the equation anymore, because the kids just got to go to wherever the bus picks them up and get on that damn bus, and it gets them to school, right? So that doesn't preclude them from going to school. Secondly, right, once the only conversation that should be had by the PNP, and if I was the leader of the PNP party, what my argument would have been was, I believe that the bus, and I heard my view made this point, which is very, very, very valid. I believe that the bus may be too big for certain rural areas. So we need to probably do some smaller bus that's going to be able to travel through the rural area for the kids in the rural area. So that's something. But guess what? This is the new program that just opened up. So you have to start it out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and you adjust it as you go along. So if I was trying to be the Prime Minister of Jamaica, that would have been my argument, is that we need to adjust those things so that we can make it more accommodatable for accommodatable is not a word, accommodating for the kids in the rural area, right? That would have been my argument, right? That would have been. But what I find with the PNP is that even though the JLP makes certain, and this is why I can't trust what the PNP is saying. Like I said, anybody know me, know my family, know everything, know that we're PNP all the way. On election day, my sister called me just in a full orange and whatever. And I said to her, when we live in Jamaica, right, we don't really see the big picture, because we are dieted this and dieted that. But stepping out of Jamaica and being in another country, and then looking back at our sweet, sweet home that we love, and then seeing what's happening there, right? And then understanding the things that's causing those things to happen, it gives you a better perspective. So you have to get out of your mindset of being dieted and start looking at who is looking or who is making the moves to help Jamaica to grow to the best. It's not about me benefiting anything from Jamaica. I want to give back to Jamaica. But the problem is, it's about who's going to lead Jamaica, so that whatever I'm giving back to Jamaica, or any other well-thinking Jamaicans is giving back to Jamaica, is going to help Jamaica to grow and prosper and serve the people in Jamaica. If the poorer people, if the lifestyle and the livity of the poorer people in Jamaica get higher, Jamaica only gets stronger. And that's what we have to do. I mean, for years we've put the blame on why crime and violence happen in the garrisons, because of people poor and people that have this and whatever. Of course, I personally believe that there is a particular vlogger that has destroyed that notion, but I completely believe that if that's the thinking and the thought of the PNP or any politician, that poverty is causing people to do whatever, why not put in place policies and do things that are going to help the poorer class of Jamaica to elevate and get to a point where they can now be contributing members of society? Why would you try to do? Look, my father always tell me, God rest his soul. My father always tell me, give a man $1, him eat for one day. But if you teach him to fish, him eat for the rest of his life. My father always said that. The PNP, I believe, from what I have seen recently, right, has this mentality of handouts. And it may feel good to the people who are getting the handouts in the immediate time. But the handout is going to last you for a week or a month. But then for the rest of the year, you're going to struggle and suffer because you now see that guy figure it out and you have to go kiss his ass to get something. Right? The person who always want to be the don and on top and you underneath them all the time don't mean you no good. But the person who wants you to make as much as they make, that's the person that means you any good because they want you to grow. And what I am tired of with Jamaican politics is that buying people out or carrying something or giving them some money for help them for a day or two, even though they may in need of it at that point, right, is the worst thing you could do for Jamaican people, as opposed to creating the avenues and creating the things that are going to help them to earn money and stand on their own two legs and build them life and build themselves and build Jamaica and move Jamaica forward. But the problem is that that's not what these politicians want to do. They want to control you, and the only way they can control you is by giving you things, so you always have to come to them to get what you want. Not that you can create and build for yourself. And so that's what I feel I've seen with the People's National Party in what they have tried to do is to, and Mark Golding in particular, I'm telling you, I want to see a strong PNP, if you give Andrew him run for him money. Keep him on him toes and make him do what is right for Jamaican people, right? And if he don't do it right, you come up and try if you do it. But I don't see that from Mark Golding. I see Mark Golding trying to come and trying to do, and I'm in another conversation because it's gonna be a big one, trying to do what happened back when he was with Finsac and all of these other people, when Finsac situation happened and when he was with the liquidation company that him and what's his name farm, which is a whole different story that nobody is really paying attention to and understanding. That Mark Golding's mindset, in my opinion, I could be wrong, I'm not God, I know everything, but Mark Golding mindset, in my opinion, is one of liquidation, is one of, if this doesn't work, I'm not going to work and try to make it or build anything. I'm going to sell it out to the guy, something, and I'm going to line my pockets. I'm sorry, Mark, as if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I'm willing for you to point out, or in your leading of the PNP party, put forward policies to show people differently, then that's not what you're doing. But everything that you've done in this past election, everything that you have said in this past election, only solidify people's opinion about you based upon the things that you have done in the past. Right? Everything in this election, you have not put forward any policies that I can see, that I can hold on to and say, yes, I believe in those policies. Right? You have not. You have put forward junk economics. You have put forward ghetto talk. That's what I call it, ghetto talk. It don't mean, and I'm going to say this clearly, I don't want nobody to be offended by my words saying ghetto talk. When I say ghetto talk, I don't mean that if you're living at the ghetto, you have to be ghetto, no. Because you can live in the ghetto and have a mindset of living in Beverly Hills or the heights of mansion. And if you have that mindset, you're going to grow to that mindset. But if you're living at the ghetto and your mindset is of the ghetto, we have to live this, because we're in the slum and we're in this, you're going to stay in the ghetto. And what Mark Golding has done in this past election is sunk, well, I don't know, sunk, he might be there already, but he's gotten to the ghetto mentality and he supports and he pushes that argument. For people
try and look a bit that's the way so you have to understand that Golding, politics, right? So Mark Golding is not a socialist PNP, and a lot of people don't realize that the PNP party have changed from
dramatically
being the Jamaica manly party that a lot of people
liked.
Mark Golding is a capitalist. He's a banker. So his whole idea is to turn the PNP into a capitalistic party where you have the risers, right? So in they have a sabotage that happened within the PNP. They started out in I would say 20 when Portia went in office, when she came out. 2016. That's 2016.
15, 16, yeah.
Yeah,
Something about that. Yeah.
she was in office. They tried to push Portia out when Portia lost the seat, and she
Mhm.
lost the when she lost the election in 2016, and she lost it by 1 seat.
Right.
They push up Portia, then
Mhm.
they give it to Peter Phillips. They pushed
Mhm.
up Phillips, and
Mhm.
nobody in the PNP and the Rise PNP side wanted Peter Phillips to be the party leader. So they
Right.
sabotage, you know, the 2020 election basically, and
Mhm.
that's wind up with the JLP winning a super majority in
Right.
2020. And then now in 2025 they have the guy that they want, which is
Mhm.
Mark Golden. And Mark Golden, and they want to take over the PNP and basically get back in and do what they did with FinSoc.
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
people that run the PNP right now,
Mhm.
they're responsible for FinSoc.
Right.
Peter Bunn and Mark Golden in the
Mhm.
1990s they created our DB&G, which bought out Jamaican-owned businesses
Mhm.
and sell them off for like pennies on the dollars to foreign investors,
Right. Right.
and then they
Right.
profit from it. And the whole FinSoc saga was, it was bad for Jamaican
Right.
economy as well,
Right.
because
It just
Jamaica been stagnated for over years. Because you said
right.
under J. Patterson, Jamaica didn't even grow,
Right.
up to 5% of GDP every year, basically, because
Right.
of the collapse of the financial sector in the 1990s, and you
Right.
had um, like banks, like for example, Eagle Group, Century Bank, all of these different banks that collapsed because of the
Mhm.
high interest rate policy that Dr. Omar Davis implemented
Mhm.
in the in the 90s, up to all the way till when Bruce Wayne took power in 2007. Is when Bruce Wayne took control of Jamaica. That's when Jamaica started changing economically, and then later on, in Portia came back in what 2011, and
Mhm.
Andrew came in 2016. But when Portia came in 2011, they went into agreements with the IMF and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And in 2016, Andrew come and take the thing, and now you see Jamaica actually a grow.
Yeah.
So
But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this because I say this to a lot of people, and to some people I say I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was surprised to even learn certain facts that I pointed out to them. So I'm going to tell you the chronology of Jamaican politics, and a lot of people don't realize this, and especially if you live in Jamaica, you won't even see it. You won't even see it because most of the people I mean in Jamaica is dieted this or dieted that. But if you outside of Jamaica and you're not you're have an open mindset and you can critically think, you will see what I'm about to say. A couple of things, right? When you look at Andrew Holness, a lot of people look at Andrew Holness and say, "Him a dirty labor right and him a this and that." But I don't know how much Jamaicans realize that Andrew Holness was Michael Manley's godson. Actually, Andrew Michael Holness. The Michael is for Michael Manley. A lot of people don't know that, right? The guy with him called Bruce Golding, and this is something that I point people out. When I was in Jamaica, and I had no like for the Jamaica Labour Party, and the reason why I did not like the Jamaica Labour Party was because of Edward Seaga, because Edward Seaga sold Jamaica out to the United States back in the 80s. He's the one. He's the one. And anybody who don't believe me, go look up this documentary called Like It Is on ABC and look for the Michael Manley, Edward Seaga documentary that they have. And it will tell you everything that I'm about to say to you right now. Seaga is the one that came here and sell out Jamaica. Seaga is the one that tried to destabilize Jamaica back in the 80s. All of the gun and stuff. He's the one that brought in the CIA into Jamaica. And a lot of Jamaicans know this. A lot of people in Jamaica know this who've been in the garrisons and all of these things. They know this to be a fact. Seaga was it. So I never had any like for Seaga based upon what he had done in the 80s in order to gain power. 70s and 80s, late 70s, early 80s, right? But then after Seaga time has expired and he go out, you have the guy what them call Bruce Golding that step in. I didn't have too much like or love for Bruce Golding when he came into power. However, what I've quickly learned about Bruce Golding is that Bruce Golding is a patriotic Jamaican, one who really cares about what happens in Jamaica. He was one that, regardless of whatever, and it cost him being the leader of the JLP, but even though it cost him being the leader of the JLP, he stood by his morals and his convictions for Jamaica, right? He set forth a plan to move Jamaica forward in a certain way. And that plan, you could see the change in Jamaica since Bruce Golding. I always tell people, the JLP of today is the PNP of the 70s and 80s. And the PNP of today is the JLP of the 70s and the 80s. The way they are behaving, the things that they're doing, it's just a complete flip. It's like what happened in America when you had the Democrat and the Republican, and the Republican was the one that was for the slave, and the black people them had them free the slave and whatever. And you had that flip from the Lincoln Republican to now you have the Republican, them with them say Bush or Trump Republican, that is completely an antithesis to what the Republican of that time was, right? That's what happened in Jamaica as well. So when you look at the things that Andrew Holness is doing, Andrew Holness is actually doing the things, are executing the ideals of Michael Manley. What Michael Manley wanted to see for poor people in terms of education, in terms of growing the economy, in terms of not being dependent on foreign powers for the country to run or whatever. Those were Michael Manley's dream. They were not Edward Seaga's, right? Andrew Holness is now executing those dreams. And a lot of people in Jamaica don't realize it. Those die-hearted PNP, if them step back out of them die-heartedness and look at it, they will see what Andrew Holness is doing, right? So what Mark Golding is doing, and you rightfully say, he's a capitalist. He's a complete capitalist and a vulture capitalist at that, right? Someone who's looking for the opportunity to enrich himself. No, being a capitalist is not a terrible thing if he's a capitalist to help Jamaica be a capitalist against the world. The problem with Mark Gold is that Mark Gold is not looking for Jamaica to be a capitalist against the world, meaning that we're gonna do whatever to take advantage of the world. So we're gonna try to own everything, and we're gonna. Mark Golding is looking at it like, listen, every other politician coming at this thing, and every other politician get fat out of it. I am gonna get fat out of it, and this is just my personal opinion about him, right?
Well, what I have to say is that you make a good point there, because who is the highest paid politician in Jamaica currently?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and I'm not surprised by that.
he's the highest paid politician, because
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by that.
They gave out a raise to the parliament, and Andrew didn't take the raise, which I think was a chess move by Andrew to take it. But Mark Golding and the opposition took it, and they were happy with it, because even Julian Robertson said they found no issues with it. And,
of course. Of course. Why would they find issues when it's going to line their pockets?
Yeah, so
where was the increase? Where was the increase for the teachers that are educating our kids and have to go in a school with Pitney? I come from certain place and I tell them and I threaten them and I deal with them. I've seen videos of Pitney beating teacher in a school. Where was the raise for the teachers? Where was the raise for the policeman them where I get up every day and I fight against the youth them where in the garrison I go out and I kill and I murder people, and those police officers are putting their lives on the line? You just saw it the other day with the guy beating gunshot on the police them outside of the brown man. I beat gunshot on the police them. You just saw it, right? A police could have lost their life. Where is the raise for them? Where's the raise for the doctors that's in the hospitals, that's saving lives? Where, forget about the doctors saving lives. Where is the improvement for the hospitals and making it a world-class hospital so that people can go in there and get treatment and they don't have to run around and not get it? Where are those things? if Andrew Holness could stand up and say, listen, as the Prime Minister of Jamaica, I am not taking this raise because I feel like all these other people aren't getting a raise and we
Well,
cannot give it to other people. I'm
well,
not taking it.
let me jump in a second. Like I said,
Mhm.
when I say you're wrong, but
Yeah.
you did give raise to the police, the public sector workers as well. They got a large pay increase in
Okay.
a very time.
Okay.
So under wholeness, pay raise. I mean, the public sector got a pay raise by a large amount,
But
and I don't know the amount, but they are getting treated good now.
yeah,
And
but my point, but
uh,
my point to it, the point that I was trying to make was, if Andrew, as the opposite, as the prime minister of the country, decides not to take this raise, and
mhm,
Mark Golding, who is the opposition leader, who wants to be the prime minister, decide to take the raise, it shows a different mindset of when I'm talking about where's the raise for all of these people. If he didn't take a raise, I personally, if I was the opposition, I wouldn't have taken the raise, and I would have said, let's give that money to X. Let's give that money to X, right? Because no, it's helping the lower class, or the people with the less income in Jamaica, giving them a boost. No, when I say I respect Andrew Holness and what he is doing in Jamaica, and that's why I'm not a JLP. By far, if by the farthest measure, I'm not a JLP. I'm also at this point not a PNP, but I more consider myself more of an independent person, thinking of whoever shows me that they have Jamaica's best interest at heart is the party that I'm going to support for the moment until they show me otherwise, right?
mhm.
What I am saying is, yes, over the last 9 years, if you look, because Andrew can't do everything all at once, but over the last 9 years, Andrew has done enough, has done something, not enough, it's never enough, but has done things to move the country forward, and to move the country in a way where we can look at it and says, hey, you know what, we're moving in the right direction. If you want to unseat such a person, you have to come with a plan that shows me and other Jamaicans like me who don't believe in the diarted thing, I only believe in Jamaica's growth and in Jamaica's prosperity. You will have to come to me and show me policies and proposals that are gonna beat what Andrew Holness has done over the 9 years that he's been in power, and it's gonna far surpass what he's planning to do now, right? And unless you can do that, you cannot get my vote. Unless you can do that and show me. And I'm telling you, Jamaican people are smart. Jamaican people have some of the smartest people. Jamaica is the most influential little island in the entire world. Jamaica's culture and ideas and people has infected every corner of this world. So we have the brain power, we have the talent, we have the people to move Jamaica in a way where we can be very, very successful and we can move in such a good direction. But for some reason, we choose to relinquish our ideas and our standards and our to any little guy that come up and get to talk to it, because that's all I can talk about when I hear Mark Golding speak. I
Yeah.
listen to him. You should be aspiring Jamaicans to do better, and he's not doing that.
Um,
Stop.
well, J-Star,
Mhm. Yeah.
J-Star, you there?
Start.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Look.
Yeah.
Shani B. I know Star not jumping because Star said, "Look, they were talk all Jamaica. We don't hear nothing about Guyana yet."
No, no,
but
no, no,
but Star, we have to talk about Guyana. And I say whenever we discuss these things, because they are so important to our people. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're Jamaican or you're Guyanese or whatever, it's so important to our people. We have to discuss these things. I think we have to be educated on what we are saying in regards to this. And I know that you guys just recently go through a election or something down there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I hear that you're not happy with the results. And one of the thing I didn't hear it out of your mouth, but somebody tell me that yeah, I said, boy, the man them thief the thing, and I'm always skeptical about the term stealing an election, because I think that Jamaica had sent some observer and stuff over there to kind of observe and make sure everything go good. And I think them say the election was fair. However, there was some concerns about certain things. I don't know if you can shed some light on that.
All right. So basically, on the elections that just went on in Guyana 2025, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
the PPP party that's been in power, I would say, from since 1991, 1992. Don't hold me to that. They have to be around that same time, right? And then since then, Guyana always been one of the countries that is in South America that's still considered to be a Caribbean country, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So with that being said, that we are a Caribbean-based country because we always ruled by the British at some point.
Yeah.
So just to give you a quick backstory, which you guys know already, but when it comes to the election, right, they have this win party that just started, or actually came alive or created 3 months before the election by a
Mm-hmm.
guy named Azadi Muhammad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically what happened with him is a young guy. He was born on March 1st, 1987, right?
Okay. Okay.
Young guy came up. He was going around the community helping people, building house for people, giving money, giving back, like just going to the schools and helping kids and buying laptops and stuff, and just helping the community out of his own pocket, right?
Right.
But
Right.
at one point, right, Muhammad was actually sanctioned in 20 on the 11th of June, 2024, right?
Uh-huh.
He was sanctioned by the U.S. because basically it was claimed that he owed about $50 million, right, in taxes on
What?
gold. Yes. So basically, that's what they're saying that he was sanctioned for, right? So
Right.
this guy that's probably a billionaire in Guyana, or one of the richest guys in Guyana, um, he was the one of the guys who used to help the PPP party, and he used to protect them and give them guns and so on to protect themselves or use their security, stuff like that, right? Um, and after he was sanctioned, it kind of like they turned against him, and it just bad blood between each other. So, which is the PPP, and then the
Mm-hmm.
new party which the guy created, which is Azdi Muhammad, which he created,
Mm-hmm.
was it's called the Win Party, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is WIN.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the guy decided that he's gonna run for president because the people of Guyana, which I am one of them,
Mm-hmm.
have been saying that he should run. So he never came out of his mouth before that and say that he's planning to run for president or nothing like that. The people
Mm-hmm.
of Ghana just saw him and what he was doing for everyone, and say he should run for president.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my problem is, right, just to
Mm-hmm.
really get you guys a little briefed up
Up
on
to
it,
speed.
right?
Yeah.
So my problem with the election, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my only problem is, guys, is that Jamaica offer help or offer a different system to vote, right?
Right. Voting
And
machine and all of that stuff.
yes, and our government rejected that.
Right.
Instead of that, what hurt me the most, right, was when I found out that we were actually voting with pencil. I want you guys to think about that for a second. Your government of Guyana is telling you that, okay, when you show up to vote, you're voting with a pencil.
Yeah.
So
I
think
think that
about
was
that.
one of the. I think that one of the problem that Jamaica found with the election that they had an issue with.
So think
So
about
so
that, right? How is it? That's if somebody's telling you, hey, you know what? I'm gonna sign a contract, and the contract that I'm gonna sign,
it's
hey, I'm
gonna
gonna
sign
sign
in
it with
pencil.
with a pencil.
Yeah, so I can rub it out and change it.
Yes. So now when you go there, you have the fingerprint stuff that you put on your finger so they can tell that you vote. My question was this: why not people took the same fingerprint along with using a pen instead of a pencil, and
Right,
they put
right,
the thumb on the paper that they vote with. So that way, if
correct.
you need to backtrack, you can go back, you could call these people that or well, you can't really call them because the vote is private. But at
Yeah,
least you can check under the scope to see if these fingerprints are actually real or
right,
not.
right.
So the voting system that actually went on, it was nothing that I felt like it was fair. Some of
Mhm.
the regions that the PPP party win, I didn't think that they never won those areas forever,
Right, right.
and all of
So
a
how did
sudden,
they just do it? How them just all of a sudden win it?
so magically they did. Magically
Yeah.
they did. So the reason why I say that, I'm not happy with the results, just because like if you're the government, would you want it to be fair if you're not gonna cheat?
No, no, and so the whole idea where you talk about with the pencil thing, I think that is problematic because even if the election was fair and everything done proper stuff, the optics of it is bad because it allows people to look at it and say, hold on, the man, you can rub out what me have to say, and then you can change it, and then guess what happened? If they were to discover ballots that were seem like they were rub out and so forth, then those ballots become invalid, right?
Exactly. And that's what happened because when they requested a recount, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden the Win Party had more votes than they actually had before. Then on
Right.
top of that, my thing is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me just thinking off the top of my head, right? If I'm
Mm-hmm.
if I'm trying to cheat, or if I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna cheat, right? I could make extra copies of those paper, have
Mm-hmm.
people fill them out, and just
Mm-hmm.
put them in an extra box, so we have double
Mm-hmm.
box.
Yep.
When
Yep.
election is done, hey guys, don't pick up that box, pick up the other box.
Yep. Yep.
You
Yep.
understand? When you
Yep.
when the transportation is actually transporting these box, you can say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, take out these box, don't take that box. There's so many things left. Is a very open.
It's
um
it opened up the door for people to say there's corruption. So I completely understand your standpoint on why you would look at the system, look at it and feel like it is it's corrupt or it's rigged. I know that exactly what you were saying in terms of them voting with using the pencil, which is very problematic. And I know that the Jamaican government had actually said that they thought the election was fair. However, they saw a lot of issue, and I think one of the things that they cited was the fact that people were voting with using pens to pencil to mark their ballots, and
uh-huh.
that's a problem, bro. But
So
guess what happened?
it is, and the thing is, right, that
Mhm,
my main issue, yeah, that's one. But
mhm,
the problem is that I don't believe that they are actually putting stuff in place where it makes the country better. Why? Because for the past 4 years since we discovered that, all right, we have oil, and we start selling,
right.
right?
Oh, you
Within
guys
that,
actually start refining, or are you just
yes,
selling?
no, we've
Okay.
been refining, yeah.
Mhm,
So basically, right,
mhm,
right now, the guy, our current president, they've
mhm.
been they've been borrowing money, right?
Big mistake.
They've been borrowing so much money. Right now, I think at the end of 2024, we were already in we already at five, I think it was 5.339, something like that, $1 million or
Okay.
billion, if I'm not mistaken. I think
It
it's
it
billion.
billion,
Billion,
million,
Wait,
yeah.
5 million is not bad, but billion, you're talking some different thing. Our trillion is worse.
but wait, why is Guyana borrowing money? Because Guyana, isn't Guyana making a lot of money from the oil? Why you have to borrow money for?
But that's my thing. And
What,
I
what my
go ahead.
question is there. Does Guyana have the infrastructure? Because I know they just find the oil, they have to build the infrastructure to do the refining. Are they sending the oil outside of Guyana to be refined? I know that Jamaica refine oil for Trinidad and other places. So where are they refining their oil?
So we're actually selling it, right, to
You're
the
just
U.S.
selling the oil. So you're not
ExxonMobil,
refining, you're just selling
Yeah,
the crude.
yes, ExxonMobil is taking the oil. They're taking about 98% of it, right?
that's not.
And then Guyana is left with 2 barrels, right? And that's
Oh
it,
shit.
right?
Oh
So my
shit.
thing is, I saw the
Oh
president. He
shit.
was
Hold on,
the
hold on.
pres
So who make that deal, Jay? Who make
the
that
vice.
deal? Who?
I would say the vice president, Barrett Jagdeo. His name is Barrett
Yeah,
Jagdeo,
right,
right?
right.
So basically, right,
Uh-huh.
this is what he said. I saw a video. This is what he said. They basically borrowing the money, taking the
Mhm.
money, right? And
Mhm.
he's saying based off of the wealth that will be coming in, right? We
So
will be able to
projected.
pay, yeah, that's projected. We'll be able to pay that off. Now, my
No,
thing is this: why would you want to put yourself in that position when you don't
A
need it?
bad, a bad,
yeah,
bad
yeah.
economical strategy. Because
That's
it's
the
a
same
bad
thing
strategy.
I did.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Guyana, and I had hopes for Guyana finding that oil because I thought that the country. I've been to Guyana. I've been down there. I've seen it. Anybody that hasn't been to Guyana will just for you, I'll give you like a little what to look at when you look at Guyana, right? But Guyana to me is look at Jamaica back in the 80s. That's what Guyana looks like today, right? Guyana has tremendous potential to become really huge. So the money that they make from the oil, right? I was expecting that money would gone back into the country, building up the infrastructure, building up the because Guyana can have a good tourist market. But I was thinking that they're gonna build up those things in order to help that country to grow. Now, if you're gonna sell out 98% of the freaking oil that you just find and left 2% back to the country, bro. That's like you just did a PJ Patterson on Guyana right there. That's
Yeah,
a that's a P, that's a PJ Patterson right there.
but that is why these are the things that I look at, right? Is that all of a sudden crime rate is gonna go up. Why? Is because let me tell you this, right? I am not a politician. I am just a citizen that want to see better for the country.
Right.
Now, in my perspective, right? You mentioned
Mhm.
it about Jamaica. Why not fix the schools? Why not fix the hospitals? Why not fix healthcare? Why not take care of the
Yeah.
education department? Why not take care of these things are everyday living in our future? Why not take care of our future? And I don't see them trying to take care of our future. It's like they're more building stadiums for cricket versus
Mhm.
building schools and more hospitals and providing better health care and better system. I don't see that happening. They're building the infrastructure, but then instead of this, right? Let me give you guys a quick scenario, right? They're building the infrastructure like the roads and so on, right? They are
Mhm.
bringing the Chinese in and they're making deals with the Chinese, right? On
Mhm.
top of that, too, the roads that are going through like the neighborhoods and stuff like that, they're giving out contracts to random people that never built roads before, right? So think about it. If you give somebody, if you give a, if somebody just come up, they don't care if it's a female, male, whatever. They're gonna give them $13 million. So $13 million equivalent to um let me $30 million. mm, Let me see what $30 million. Sean, can you pull that up for me?
What 30 million? What
13 million
Guyanese dollars
Chinese dollars. Let me see.
to USC?
compared
Yeah,
to US dollars.
USD. That's 62 13, all right? 13 million.
13 million. Hold on,
Yes.
wait.
How much 30 million Guyanese dollars is in US money? That's the question.
Yes, I think that's 62.
Well, give me a second. Let me see if I can draw it.
$13 million.
That's about 62,000
62
USD.
62,000 US, right?
Yeah, 62.
Right. So you're giving a regular day-to-day person that you don't know their background. They just come and say, "Hey, I know construction. I can lay concrete and block and
Well,
mix different concrete."
this is the
Uh-huh.
same thing that what you're describing is the same thing that happened in Jamaica during the PNP 18 years. Basically, they just give out contracts to the random person, and
Yes.
this doesn't know how to build a road or whatsoever. So I
But they
think
don't care. It look good that they're doing something, but I don't know them really. I look at them and just mash up
No,
on
they're
them. I don't.
not, because people are complaining about the roads are damaging. By the time they get to one end, the other end is
Mhm.
damaged.
this is what they're doing. It's the same thing happened in Jamaica. Basically, you have a man come and patch a road here, patch a road there. They throw down the barber green, then rain come and wash it. Well, same exact thing they did in Jamaica back in the days. But the biggest difference with Jamaica now, instead of having the local contractors uh building the new roads, what Andrew have done is brought the Chinese in, and the Chinese are training the Jamaicans to build the road, and they have to
Exactly.
get
Do
they
the
have to get
work.
to do the work.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
basically, what Andrew wants to happen is eventually Jamaicans can replace China Harbor
Which
as
is smart.
the sole contractor in Jamaica. So you're gonna build up little firms within Jamaica that can do construction. And
Good,
at the
Sean.
same
You just led right into exactly what I was about to say. Exactly what I was about to say. Because my question was right. My question was this: why not? You have young men there that needs job. They got out of school. They don't have nothing to do. Not everybody can be a doctor, a nurse, or whatever. But there are people that can do handly work, right? So
Mhm.
why not make right? Bring in the Chinese, bring in those people that know how to build roads for, okay, do it for 5, 6 years, do a 10 year, whatever. But they have to hire Guyanese employees. It
Mhm.
have to be at least a 90 or 80 or 85% of Guyanese
The
employees,
question
right?
the question
Mm.
I have for you, how is these projects being funded? Is Guyana taking loans from China, or Guyana is paying out of their pocket?
Well, based off of, I believe that I don't know if this is factual, but based off of my belief, because of
Yeah.
the amount of money that they're taking out, they're
Mhm.
borrowing this money, and maybe some is coming from the oil, right? My
Okay.
thing
So
is this, right?
what more I point out here, right? If you're gonna
Mm,
borrow money from a country, say for example China, what China will say to you is that they will fund the project, but they want a percentage of their workers to,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So this is the same thing what Jamaica face, because Jamaica, with all the highways that's being built in Jamaica, for example, Highway 2000 that was built in Jamaica by it started off by PJ Patterson, and I think Bruce Cullen come and finish it off. Jamaica borrowed the money, and most of the people that built the highways in Jamaica were Chinese. A majority of them at the time was Chinese. Over time, where Jamaica right now is paying off its debt. Oh, Jay started there.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
So I think the connection dropped for Gano. Um, so Jamaica is paying off its debt now. Jamaica is able to fund those projects, and they can say, "Listen, I want you to come and build this project for me, but I want
Yeah.
it to be Jamaican own. I want Jamaicans to be working with you and learning from you. Jamaica can dictate the terms to
Uh,
the this company." Instead of
yeah.
if it the other way around, where China is providing the funding, then China can dictate that money. Dictate who work on the project um,
Exactly.
to Jamaica. So I think that's what's happening in Guyana, where because Guyana is borrowing that money, the Chinese are telling Guyanese like, okay, say 50% of the labor has to be Chinese and 50 would be Guyanese, just for
Well, from
example.
my understanding, right? This
Yeah.
is you're thinking of it. I know what you're saying, right? But
Yeah.
Guyana right now, what they're doing, they have their friends and their family where they're
Mm-hmm.
giving out these contracts to these
Mm-hmm.
big contracts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it only led me to believe that the way they are doing things, there is a lot of room for people to speculate what's going on, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
too many red flags for me not to question, or anybody or a citizen not to question what's going on. Like, I believe everyone should care about their country or have questions if they see certain things, because it's our country. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
love where we're from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter where you're from, you have questions when you see certain things. And I believe my question is that based off of what's going on in the roads that you're building and
Mm-hmm.
how you're giving out these contracts, because at the end of the day,
But
when these contracts are given out, right?
mhm.
Why don't you invest into having Guyana have more like a structure, like try to build infrastructure, like how, like here you have New Jersey Transit, where after we learn how to build roads and we know the I'm looking for the technicality of how to build roads, and you have all that information, you
Mhm.
can teach young men and young women how to build roads and how to maintain roads. On top of that, they can have a day-to-day 9 to 5 where they can go to every single day, and now
Mhm.
you build up the economy, because you can't give if you give one person $30 million, then when that $30 million they give out, if they left over with $2 million, 2 million Guyanese dollar, that's
Mhm.
nothing. That's $10,000.
Mhm.
They're gonna finish that. That's just one family. By the time they finish building that road, that money is done. But if you give 6,000 employee jobs, like,
Mhm.
it would make the country a lot better. Why not try to make building roads a thing where they have everyday jobs that they can go to, and
Mhm.
then you keep the young men mind busy, because when you have these young guys or young women, they got nothing to do. What you think a idle mind does? They look for trouble.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
But
same thing.
we need to create jobs. That's what we need to do. And you have all the opportunity. Like, we have all of the opportunity in Guyana right now to just create jobs. People going around and cleaning, sweeping, maintaining. We have a lot of opportunity, man. And it really breaks my heart, though.
The question is, right? How does Guyana have a proper procurement system of giving out contracts to like? What it sound like to me is that a random person I get a contract. It's just like, so somebody and yeah, I give it out to them. That's what it sound like to me. So
That's exactly what it is.
have a system in place that can give out the contracts.
There's no qualification
Okay.
offered or have. You have to submit. There's
Okay.
no resume that you have to submit.
Okay.
Right? There is literally, I just believe that we're going backwards. Like, they're building and they say we're doing that, but you're going backwards. You're
That
not
is,
building nothing that's gonna last.
yeah. You see what when you ask what all that stuff I said, the only thing I can compare to is Guyana and Jamaica, because I know Jamaica politics very well. Guyana, I don't know too much, but what you described to me sounds like how Jamaica used to be in the 80s and the 90s.
Well,
And
good.
what Guyana should do going forward, they should probably take some pages out of Jamaica book and use those to improve the country. Because if you look at Jamaica, right, currently, Jamaica
Mm,
got a accolades for paying off its debt, stabilizing its macroeconomics, and growing its economy, lowering unemployment rate, cutting poverty in half. A lot of the country, the organizations, them such as like the IMF and World Bank, them applaud Jamaica for the great work that they're doing.
yeah.
And what Jamaica have discovered, Jamaica hasn't discovered any natural new resource or anything.
Mm-hmm.
What Jamaica did was manage its economy better.
Yeah.
get rid of corruption, make the system more efficient. Guyana discovered oil, and that's what growing Guyana economy currently. What I would say Guyana should do is take a page out of Jamaica book and make its systems more efficient and less corrupt, like what Jamaica is doing, and manage the economy in a way that it benefits everybody, but not a few.
And that's I believe that yes, you absolutely need to take a page out of other country book. I think that our leaders now listen, we got to move on, right? There, election is done,
Mhm.
right? PPP, A. Finale is our president. Bayer Jagger is still our vice president. We got to
Mhm.
move on, but moving on is not. You can't hold on to the past, right?
Mhm.
I'm hoping, and this is what I hope. I hope that they really sit back and say, you know what? Let's make a change. Let's do things differently, right? You listen. Just come out and tell the people of Guyana, even though that you won. I don't believe it was totally fair, but
Mhm.
even like come out to the people and say, listen, we may not done everything correctly. We
Mhm.
may not done half of what we should have done, right? But moving forward, you will see a difference. And I believe Guyanese people would be people like me would be like, okay, let's see what we're gonna do. Are we gonna do things different? And then do things differently than what they've been doing. And I believe that, listen, I believe like Afrin Ali, which is our president. I like his a lot of people bash him for he coming out on stage and he's dancing and all that stuff and whatever. Like, listen, I don't care about that kind of stuff. Like, be you. I like to see when he go out and having interacting with people and laughing and showing that human side. I
Mhm.
understand that. Do your thing. I believe that Barrett Jagdeo, which used to be one of our president, which is the vice president now, I believe he's the best politician that Guyana has.
Mhm.
Now, do I believe that, and I have nothing against these guys, nothing personally, but do I believe there's time for Jagger to just hang it up and step back and let some younger mind come in and try to make the country better? I believe so. Like we had enough. You did your thing. We may not agree, right? Guyanese people know you for what they know you for, and I believe like it's about time we give somebody else a chance, and we need a change, man. We definitely need a change, and hopefully that they can change their mindset and be more open minded to how they do this contracts and how they build the infrastructure, how they're gonna start building up the city, like they're building outside of the city. They
So
do
Guyana
things.
has so you guys are currently developing the infrastructure down there, like adding new highways and building new cities
Yes,
and all.
they're building roads and so on.
Mhm.
In my opinion, I believe that, listen, any progress is progress,
Mhm.
right? We may not agree that how they're doing it, but I think that where my frustrations come from
Mhm.
is they give not contracts to
Mhm.
random human beings, random
Mhm.
citizens. I don't agree with that. I
Mhm.
believe that they're talking about cash grants and so on and just give away money. I don't believe in that as well. I believe you should put more things like you guys were talking about Jamaica, where they had the school buses and things to get kids to school and provide lunch and those things. I believe there are more other things that you can impact the country on a bigger scale to really impact the country, because this is how I look at the cash grant, right? I look at it
Mhm.
this way: let's say you have your girlfriend, right? And instead of going out and buy some flowers and making a glass pitcher for her or whatever, you know what you say? You know what? It's that gonna cost a little bit too much, and plus on top of that, I have to be too creative. You know
Mhm.
what? Let me just give her $200, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't really, it's nothing long term that you can look back and you can be like, wow, this road been here for a long time. Oh my God, look at it, look at these buildings in Georgetown. Oh my God, look at the roads coming from the airport to the city. Look at the roads going from the city to this part of the country. Look at the bridge. Look at the schools. Look at the healthcare, which a lot of people have a lot of issues with. I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
not seeing those things being talked about.
But you know what, Jay? That's usually the again when we were talking about Jamaica situation, and I was pointing out that what I saw from Mark Golding is he's basically giving people things instead of teaching them how to fish. That's
Yeah.
a typical politician practice. If I don't want, if I want your vote the next 4 years, it is in my best interest to make sure that you don't grow beyond where you are. So if I give you the means to grow beyond where you are, in 4 years you might tell me to kiss your ass. But if I
Yeah.
give you some help every, every other month or every 6 months for the next 4 years, when it's time for election, I'm gonna say if I lose, you ain't gonna get that help. So you need to vote for me. It's
Well,
typical. It's
but
typical of politicians.
well, it's not okay in Jamaica terms. I would say it's not typical of the JLP
Well,
currently. The J,
look,
I,
the JLP did it in the past, and I'm not even sure that they're not still doing it. No, what
I
I
look
do, what
from
I am sure of, what I am sure of, to what degree they are doing that. When I look at the leader of the JLP party, which is Andrew Holness, that's not what I see come from him. Are there JLP ministers or people that's doing that same type of thing? I don't know because I'm not in that. I'm not there to see or know. But
well,
but
what I have to say, what I have to
Mhm.
say about that the JLP is that's not a policy that they're pushing. You understand? The PNP pushed that because Julian Robertson uh,
Mhm.
said that he's okay with buying votes, right? He's the secretary
Yeah,
of the PNP party,
and that
right?
guy no need to be in office.
But he got his seat back. He lost his seat in 2020, and then now we get him seat back in I think I don't remember which. Oh, Westmoreland. He got him seat back in Westmoreland. He beat out
Mhm.
Dolly Lawrence. So
Yeah,
in back parliament, and this is the thing about this election too in Jamaica is that a lot of the people them that shouldn't be in parliament got back into parliament, such as
yeah,
you have Cartel lawyer Isaac
yeah. That
Buchanan,
guy. Yeah,
and then you have Peter. So, yeah,
yeah.
But
That is a guy.
you see, the
That guy
thing
I'm
is,
not.
right? You see, the thing is about you know, like even during the election, not during the election, before when the different parties were doing their rallies and so on, there were
Mhm.
mhm,
cases where they were the government were telling the police to hold Muhammad, you know, hostage basically on the side of the street for a license plate. All right, so he can't get to his rally. The grunt, you want to rent somewhere where the people can come, he can talk to the people. They won't let him have it. Right?
mhm.
All of that
Yeah,
stuff, man. I listen. You did it. He never done anything to react. He always stay calm, poised, and I respect him for that. Right?
Right.
And
mm,
there are a lot of people that look at this guy and be like, "Oh, well, he never been in politics before, been a politician, or worked in these areas before." But I look at it, I don't, I don't care for a politician. Sometimes you need people that are doers and getters that get it done, right? I don't care how much you know. You could know the world, but if you don't do anything, you haven't
mhm.
done anything. You could have all the knowledge in the world, but you could be sitting there, you don't know how to get it done. So my thing is, I always look at him as like, stop looking at him as like, oh, he haven't been in parliament before. He doesn't know how to run a country. No, the guy is a billionaire. The guy is one of those guys that used to protect the government, right?
Mhm.
So people are looking at like, oh, he's never gonna, he's not qualified. He's not this. Yes, he's qualified. You know why? Because he's done things for the people,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
sometimes in life, like I said, it's about people that are doers. You can
Yeah.
know the world, but if you're not a doer, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather take a doer any day than somebody that knows it all.
But you know what, Jay? Let me ask you, right? Because I don't know. So I'm genuinely asking. Do we do we really feel like because a person is a billionaire, millionaire, however he gets to his money, because we don't know how that happens, right? Do
Mm.
we think that do we always think that that person is the right person to run the country?
No,
Or
not in every case. In this
right,
case,
right.
what I was
Because
looking
I
in this
only
case,
asked because you made the point that he's a billionaire. So I never use the criteria of a person being rich. For example, when we talked about Elon Musk and all these guys, I never thought that because they've had certain success in a certain segment of society would make them a good leader in other parts of society, because that's not true. That generally doesn't translate. But if he has shown that he's doing the groundwork, he's doing the things, and showing that he has the heart and the spirit for the people, then absolutely 100%. I'm with you if you have to do that, because having the business background that's going to help you to kind of know when or where to do things would help. But I don't think that should be the sole
no,
criteria.
that's not the sole criteria of
Right.
why.
Yeah.
This guy never came out before and said he's gonna run for president. It's the people,
Right.
right?
The people
You
push him.
you don't see people. This guy, you never really see any bodyguards around him. You mostly see him by himself. He might have a cameraman, and he's doing his thing, right? Because the
Yeah.
people of the country protect him. You understand what I'm saying?
But this is the
Even
first
when
time he's ran, right?
very first time, like I said, his party was created in 3 months.
Yeah. So you
Three
know what?
months,
So
and guess what? I think he has 26 seats in Parliament, right?
so he won in
Which I
three
know is
months.
way
He won
more.
26 seats.
Yes, he got 26.
So
How
that's
many
a great accomplishment, bro.
how much seat is there in total?
The last time I checked, if I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to that. I think it was 63 or something like that.
Oh, it's the same
That
as
if he gets 26 out of 63, it's almost half
And then,
of
well.
and
he.
then, and the other party have, I think it's 36, if I'm not mistaken. That's the last thing I saw
Yeah,
somewhere on the internet. But like I said, don't hold me to that. I don't want nobody to say, "Oh, I'm not giving them the true
the
facts."
right
But
information,
I
right?
think I think the last thing that I saw that I remember, it was 26 to 36.
Mhm.
So he has the second highest number. So which to me, I some people were like, yeah, like at least if he can get seats, I'm happy with that. I'm like, no, I want him to go all the way,
No.
right?
But Jay,
But the fact that he has
like I said,
seats, I'm like, all
like I
right, you
said,
know what? You have seats.
I don't know Guyanese politics to that extent, and I'm gonna definitely try to learn more so that when we have these discussions, I can talk on it. But what I would say, if a guy created something in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and is able to accomplish winning that many seats, he has made tremendous progress, and that says a lot for him and the organization that he ran. So I wouldn't be disappointed because he's not a career politician. He doesn't know all the ins and outs, but I wouldn't be disappointed.
It's not about being. I'm not disappointed in the fact that I'm disappointed more in the system that we use, which I believe that you're calling us Guyanese people stupid by giving us pencil to vote with. That's what really ticked me off.
So you see, Jamaica have been making recommendations to Guyana from
Absolutely true.
2007 on ways to improve their voter system. One of the recommendations is, to do electronic voting, like Jamaica have the e-voting, and I think another recommendation that Bruce Golden said that they made was also making the polling stations more accessible to the people, and also giving them like better names as well. As in Jamaica, you can say like your polling station is PD 40, and in Guyana it's like some long letter, like AB or some string of numbers. Is that true? That's
Yes,
what
that's
I.
that's that's it. Like wherever you live and wherever community you live in, right? Is a bunch of letters
Yeah.
that doesn't really give you any
Yeah.
kind of um foundation that you can believe like nothing like it's not it would be a fair election. I don't believe none of it was give me any confidence that it was a fair election. That's basically what it is.
Also, there was a reform proposed to reform their electoral commission as well, because I believe they have three people on the electoral commission that can make the decision on like a ballot. Like, say if the ballot is a good ballot, a bad ballot, or whatever. And this one person there, um, one person from the party, and this one person supposed to be the tie. But Bruce Willen was saying that there's like some pressure put onto the third person, because the third person can, make a decision, and then they could, people could say it's party bias because they made a decision that was in favor of a different party. So they have to
Uh-huh.
make um,
Are these
changes,
pe-
make the
are these people affiliated with the parties?
well. That's what Bruce Cullen is talking about. It is they don't know, right? These
Okay,
people should not be affiliated with a party. But
agreed.
if if a person make a decision, you know, the third person make that decision, they can be blamed to say, "Oh, that's a
That's who
party."
swing the power. So you
Yeah.
really have to worry about somebody saying, well, you swing the election one way versus the other way, and that could
Yeah.
So
jeopardize your life as well.
Yep.
exactly. And then the next thing as
So
well, if you look at Jamaica electoral commission, for example, Jamaica have two representatives from both parties. So you have one person from the PNP, which is Dayton Campbell, or Satan Campbell, McCall, and then you have the the JLP, which is Tom Tavares Vincent, and then I think you have those two people that oversees the ballots from both parties. So both parties can agree or disagree on which which vote should count or what. And this brings me to another topic, which was the PNP come out and said that the election was stolen. Like Andrew Holness stole the election. That's what the PNP are growing. I said the comrades them I said Andrew Holness didn't win him seat, um, and the election was rigged. But you can't say the election was rigged, because both the PNP and the JLP agreed that the election was fair. And also you had observers from CARICOM, Guyana. Actually, you had somebody from Guyana that came over and observed Jamaica election, and they said the election was free and fair. But now the PNP have come out and I say, hey, the election is rigged, and basically Andrew Holness didn't win him seat. Because if you look at, I don't want to go off a topic. I don't want to leave Guyana out, but I wanted to talk about as well. We can come back to this, but I want to talk about different forces outside of Jamaica that's trying to change Jamaica and manipulate um, the politics in Jamaica. You have outside forces, but I don't want to go off a topic. I
so
want to stay with
but
Guyana.
it remains, Sean, to what you and Jermaine were saying, right? When and this is something that I said, Jermaine, and with all due respect, me go say, and people, you know, when people say all due respect, them say something screw up right after that. So, but I don't mean it in that way in this, right? But typically in most elections, the losing party or the losing people in that election will always scream and say that it's unfair, rigged, or whatever. So I'm always skeptical. Not that it didn't get rigged, not that it's not unfair, but I'm always skeptical of the losing party saying that. With that
Yeah.
said, right? With that said, if you have enough evidence that is pointing towards there is a lot of impropriety in the election, it might not be stolen in the sense of stolen, but there is so much things that's not right, that can kind of flip it one way or another. And it might not be stolen, but it's definitely depressing the democracy, because it's not really fair, because there are things that happen that swing it one way versus the other. The
Well,
next
well, the
point I
things.
want.
Well, if you let me tell you this: if you're the government and you're allowing election to go on with pencil, what is that? That's
Yeah, no, that's wrong.
you open the
That's the
door
point.
to
Well,
the
you still,
speculation.
That's the point I'm trying to make as well.
Yeah.
That's the point as well. But here's the thing, Sean, and Jermaine, in regards to what we were talking about, right? I don't understand, right? Yes, like Jamaica have the two people from each party that observe the election and determine whether or not, when they look at the ballot and say, yeah, that's right, that's wrong, that whatever. But I believe that then if there becomes a dispute between these two people, there should be somebody in the judiciary, in the
that's what,
court, that
that's a
that now looks at that same thing. Two justices look at
no,
that same information and they determine whether or not that information is correct. I think
no, but
that's the more prudent way of going about it.
this is no, in Jamaica you have a magisterial recount. That's what it's called. So
Right,
if
right.
the commission
And
can
that too.
agree on a seat, it goes to the magisterial recount, which is the judge that
Right.
oversees the count of ballots. So
And Jermaine, do you know if that exists in Guyana?
What?
A magistrate, somebody from the judiciary, that if the people who are deciding whether or not those votes are legal or not, and if they can't agree on it, it will go to the judiciary to decide on which angle to go.
Well,
You know that?
recently, right? We have in Guyana they have GCOM, right?
Mhm.
Which they're basically Guyana is not that to me. All right, what I'm basically saying, right?
Mhm.
GCOM is the one that do the recount,
Yeah.
and I believe that they can be, and there's a possibility where there are people that can be paid or people that were put in those positions to ensure that certain things happen. That's just
Right.
my opinion. And
Yeah.
I'm only saying based off of how things was run, it just leave for speculation. And I'm
it's
just saying that I
well,
don't
this is
know.
the
There's
same,
no higher position outside of that.
it's the same argument that in Jamaica that the PNP is making, that you have people there that were put in place by the government that paid off people in order for the JLP to win their seats.
Right.
And you have to look at um let me pivot a little bit to Jamaica. I have a thing I want to say. For the PNP to come out and say that they won first, they came out and said they won the election, but they lost the election. They have like
Right.
mixed, they have mixed feelings about the election, right? On the
Right.
election night, Mark Golden came out and said he conceded to the election. Then they came back and said they have irregularities in the election, right?
Mhm.
They had a press conference sometime last week about
Mhm.
irregularities and say that people have been paid to vote. Um, People are dipping fingers in ink. So basically, um, if you know an area that you know that there's gonna be a JLP stronghold or whatever, and you want to suppress the vote, I believe them pay the person and dip them hand in a thing in the ink.
They said
So
they vote,
they can't, yeah, they said them vote, but they can't show up to the election, the polling place in the
so they
they
don't
can't show,
vote.
yeah, so they can't vote. That's how you suppress people. Also, there were some little funny things that were going around. The PNP somehow gained access to the voters list, and they were calling people and saying to people, "Hey, if you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote." Right? Basically, encouraging people not to go and vote. That's what.
Right, but that's not a party thing. Anybody can do that, right?
Well, that's
So you're
well,
blaming that on the party.
no, well, that's what was reported by Nationwide, and one of the JLP MP complained about that on Nationwide, that PNP has like call centers where they have the voting list. Somehow they get access to the voting list, and they were able to call people and say, "Hey, like if you don't want to vote, you know, don't vote. If you're not PNP, don't vote." That's what I'm gonna tell you basically. If
Right.
you suppress the vote, which is probably one of the reasons why Jamaica had a low voter turnout this election cycle.
You know, let me say this, John. Um, I don't. I hear that argument, but for most of Jamaica, right? And most of the people in Jamaica, you're not stupid enough to know it. Today is election day, and somebody call and say, "Hey, if you don't want to vote today, you don't have to go vote. You can vote tomorrow." I think at least 80% of Jamaicans are gonna be like, "Yo, yeah, a joke business in the family. I'm gonna go vote." So that would
Well,
not depress the vote. Then the next
well,
piece of it that I don't understand, and I'm trying to understand, right? Because I don't get it. If if I'm gonna pay somebody to suppress the vote and I don't want you to vote, you're a
mm,
JLP, or say you're a PMP and I'm a JLP member, and I want you to not vote for PMP. Why would I pay you to just dip your finger in a ink and say, "Boy, I'm a vote and you don't vote"? I would
that's
more rather pay you. I would more rather
that.
pay you to go vote for me.
Well, that's
I
their
said,
argument.
right. So it doesn't. The argument doesn't hold water to me when they
Yeah,
say that
this
they dip their hand in a ink. And so it don't hold water to me. You know?
that we were saying. This is what they
Yeah.
came out in the press conference and said that they have concerns,
Uh,
right? So this brings me to the other point I want to make is that you have international groups and groups in Jamaica that wants
mhm.
to destroy the Andrew Holmes government, right?
Of course.
So throughout the whole election, the PNP had one talking point and one talking point only, and that was about corruption. They complained that Andrew Holness had 28 bank accounts. Funny enough, the PNP wound up winning 28 seats, right?
Mhm.
The JLP won 35 seats. But they complained about Andrew Holness having 28 bank accounts, being corrupt. They tried to paint him, and that didn't work.
So
Hold on there, yeah. You might, may I hear, yeah,
so yeah, yeah, hear me?
yeah, but may I hear your background noise?
Okay. So my problem is this, right? My biggest
Well,
issue with Jamaican people
no,
and
wait, I'm not
and
my point. I make my
oh
point
yeah,
yet.
finish your point. Finish your point.
What may I say is that there's outside groups that's trying to destroy Jamaica. You have inside and outside groups trying to destroy Jamaica. So they try to put Andrew as being corrupt, which when you look at the Integrity Commission report, it shows that those bank accounts that they were talking about were closed. Those accounts are those account doesn't not active. And they also, you know, they have groups outside of Jamaica. They have groups outside of Jamaica, like the Jamaican diaspora group, right?
Yeah.
That they try to, for example, they had a protest at the
Uh-huh.
Jamaican embassy, and they said that Jamaica people at Jamaica suffer poverty. They must try to make Jamaica look bad, right?
Mm.
You have groups like, for example, the Jamaica for Justice group in Jamaica. They protest against the police, right? They must say the police
Uh-huh.
them are killed bad man in a Jamaica, and you have all of these different groups trying to paint the government as bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Election, for example, you had articles came out like on the BBC, um, some newspaper in England. I forgot the name of it. That's headlines that say that Jamaica is corrupt. facing high crime and all this stuff, just to paint the government as bad. But yet, the people in Jamaica see a different reality. They must see that the government led by Andrew Holness is actually performing. They must see that the country is growing and crime has fallen, poverty rate has fallen. So what is these outside group complaining about?
Well, I believe that they have to complain about something because then they're trying to get in, right? It's like
Okay.
somebody auditioning for your job, right? It's like they gotta say everything about you that they feel to put you down so that they can get the
Mhm,
job. All right. So
mhm.
I think that's in a simple way to put it. I think that's just the way it is. And in politics, right, is
Yeah, but
everyone's gonna point out a different opinion than what they would do until they actually get there.
you have, to me, it looks like, these people are trying to bring down Jamaica on a whole. Because if you look at what Mark Golden has proposed for Jamaica, the policies that he has proposed is to destroy Jamaica. It's not to help Jamaica. And
Well,
Mark Golden is appealing to these outside groups to try to come to Jamaica and save Jamaica. That's what they must say basically. They want to save Jamaica, but at the same time, these policies that these outside groups are pushing onto Jamaica is to destroy Jamaica.
Well, at the end of the day, right, is the opposition's gonna always say what they want to say in terms of what they should do better. Everybody have a different opinion. Everybody
Yeah,
have a different say. So,
but there's nothing for the opposition to complain about
you know,
because
well,
in this election,
like I've always said, right?
yeah.
And this is what you just said. It's clear evidence of my argument, right? Andrew Orlis is Michael Manley of the 70s and 80s, and Mark Golding is Edward Tiaga of the 70s and 80s. What Mark Golding is doing, he's literally selling Jamaica out to foreign entities. Jamaica's whole um, uh, uh, um, culture, Jamaica's whole identity is being sold because they want Jamaica to conform to the international ways of doing things. And
But
what Andrew Oldit has done is reject that, which is what Michael Manley had done. I'd reject that. And when he had rejected that, that's when he becomes this enemy of everything. There's a famous speech that he had. He says, look here, I don't want to be an enemy of the United States. However, I want to make sure that the United States respect us as a sovereign nation, right? And which is what Andrew Holness is doing right now. The rest of the world have to respect Jamaica as a sovereign nation, and we have our own ways of doing it. Yes, they want Mark. It's not just the PMP that's down there and whatever. That's not supporting Andrew Holness. Yes, there is the United States. Yes, there's Great Britain. Yes, there's all these other countries who'd rather see a Mark Golding president, prime ministership, because a Mark Golding prime ministership means that they get more control over Jamaica and Jamaica's actions. And Andrew Holness prime ministership means that he's gonna do what he believes is the best for Jamaica. In my book, until you show me a person on the PNP side who has that stance that look here, I'm gonna support Jamaica to the nth degree and what Jamaica stand for, Jamaica's culture, Jamaica's whole identity, and we're not gonna change that just to conform to the United States or any other country on the face of the earth. Jamaica is who we are, and we're gonna be Jamaican with our own policies, with our own identity, with our own culture, with our own beliefs. And if you can't respect our belief, then we're not gonna do that. We're not your enemy, and we're not trying to be your enemy, but we are asking you respectfully to respect our way of life. And that's one of the things that the Great Britain and the United States cannot respect about Jamaica. They always want to push their ideology on Jamaica. And I am very proud, starting with Bruce Golding, to have stand up to this type of thinking against Jamaica, right? I am very, very proud that Bruce Golding had, and even the same PMP people, hardline PMP, because the hardline PNP will agree that what Bruce Golding has done, by the way, which is what caused him in prime ministership, which nobody want to talk about, but what Bruce Golding had done, a whole lot of Jamaicans agree with what Bruce Golding said and did in the time that he cast him in prime ministership. And when I say that, I know a lot of people going to come and say, no, Sano, that making insufferable. Look here, every politician is corrupt. Everybody, including, I'm sorry to say to those who don't want to believe it, but including my friend Andrew Holness, he has his dirts. If you dig deep enough, him have dirt. He's not perfect. But who is doing the most for the country? Who is trying to move the country forward? Who is trying to help Jamaica to become and realize its full potential? That's the person you're looking at, even though they might have something. So even with the whole argument of how much 28 bank account he have, I don't give a crap. Him could have 100 bank account. As long as he's doing what is best for Jamaica, that's all I care about, right? And if Mark Golden wake up tomorrow morning and become this guy that's speaking on Jamaica's behalf, is not trying to rape or rip off Jamaica and has a coherent strategy to move Jamaica forward, guess what? This man right here, so, would be right on his bandwagon saying, yo, Mark Golden, me feel your brother, make we move that way there. But he has not said anything in all of his speeches that I've heard. And if anybody hear anything other than what I'm saying, please send it to me and let me see it so I can change my opinion. Because guess what? I am not the kind of person who are afraid to change my opinion in a situation when the facts dictate that my opinion is wrong, right? You have to be able to do that. I cannot accept anybody who believes that they form an opinion without any valid information to tell them that that opinion is correct. And because they form that opinion, and when it's proven that opinion is wrong, then you pivot to another reason why that opinion is right. That's not somebody that will grow or have any best interest at anybody doing anything. The only people, if a reasonable person, you have an opinion on something, you form an opinion based upon the information that you have at the time when you form the opinion. When there are information that comes to light to show you that that opinion is wrong, as a reasonable person, you should change your opinion to fit what the facts are. And the problem I have is that people form opinion and hold on to it no matter what. That's on the JLP side, that's on the PNP side. I don't think it's one-sided at all. But I am basing my opinion on who is best to lead Jamaica based upon the information that I have, the 9 years of Andrew Holness's prime ministership of Jamaica, the information that I know about Mark Golding in his dealings with Jamaican people and the things that he has done throughout history and Jamaican people, i.e. FinSac and that whole situation, Golding and whatever situation, and the way he handled it, he never had Jamaica's people interest at heart. And because I know that that's his MO, there is no way for me as a Jamaican who believe in Jamaica's democracy and believe that Jamaica should grow from where it is and become much better than what it is and has the potential because of how influential Jamaica has been to the world, right? I believe that I cannot sit here and in no good faith agree with Mark Golding based upon his history. No, people can change. Did I see anything in this recent election and the speeches that Mark Golding has made to suggest to me that this is a man that has learned from the mistakes of the past, not mistake for him, but mistake for Jamaican people, because he benefited tremendously from those mistakes, but for the damage that he has caused Jamaican people. Did I see in this election that a man that is contrived and decides that, listen, I may have made mistakes in terms of the way I addressed and handle certain things that affect Jamaican people tremendously and destroy their businesses. No, here's what I am going to do to make amends for that. Here's how I am going to change those things in order to make sure that as the leader of Jamaica and to move Jamaica forward, I am going to do things to benefit poor and middle class Jamaicans so that they can no longer be poor or middle class, but can move up into the upper class of Jamaica. Mark Golding has not said or done anything to prove to me that he has the ability or even the thinking to move Jamaica in that light. So with that as my background, as my reference point to look at the two candidates that were put in front of Jamaican people for Prime Minister of Jamaica, in no good way I could have ever supported Mark Golding because he has not shown that. If he wake up tomorrow and change and he starts doing the right thing and he start making it, then maybe my opinion will change. And you will hear me say stuff like, support, and you say, well, a year ago, 6 months ago, you were supporting Andrew, and now you're supporting Mark. Well, this is the reason why, because I've seen where he has made the changes and whatever, but I don't see that in the man. I don't see that in him. And because I don't see that in him, under no circumstances can I do it. No, if you want to break it down to a macro level, as opposed to on a bigger scale of saying the Prime Minister in Jamaica, I honestly believe Jamaica has a lot of flaws with the election system in there and the way we are. I do believe that Jamaica needs to become a republic because the Prime Minister should not be dependent on who wins in Parliament. It shouldn't be. The Prime Minister should stand on his own 2 feet. I guarantee you there are so many people in Jamaica that like Andrew Holness and would vote for Andrew Holness over Mark Golding, but they vote for Mark Golding. They vote for the councillor in their area because that's the only way for them to benefit the PNP party, and they don't want to lose their councillor. Let me tell
Well,
the MP
says that Jamaica being a republic will never happen in
I don't believe that. I don't
anytime
believe
right.
that. I don't believe that.
Why?
I believe that if you look at what Andrew Holness is doing, because Andrew Holness is putting Jamaica on a path to be truly, truly independent, right? Because to tell you the truth, until Andrew Holness, Jamaica has not been independent. Jamaica
What
has
I'm
been
trying
dependent.
what I'm
Jamaica
trying
has
to
been.
is
Uh-huh.
look
Mhm.
with Mark Golden, yeah, and Jonas is doing great with everything on the economy side and whatsoever. But in order to
Mhm.
change the American constitution, you need the opposition. And there's
Correct.
no way that Mark Golden, a British guy, you know, is going to get rid of him, king or queen, because
Well,
him not
well,
hold a British passport. You know,
no. Well, this is where my opinion differs from yours a little bit. Um, because I believe in Jamaican people in terms of that every well-thinking Jamaican, and there are well-thinking Jamaican on the PNP side, and there are well-thinking
yeah,
Jamaicans on the JLP side.
they
And I
are will.
believe in Parliament, you do have PMPs in Parliament. Of course, Mark Golding and his side of people them I try to hollow that out.
The
But
that was what I'm trying to say to you. The politics
mm,
has changed on the PNP side.
yeah,
Most
I
of the
understand.
won their seat are loyal to Mark Golden. Mark
Right,
Golden sabotaged the PNP in 2020,
right,
right? And
right.
the PNP them that's Portia Simpson PNP or PJ PNP or Micah Manley PNP
No,
lost
no,
theirs,
but I agree.
right? So now
Mhm.
it's more risers that's in the parliament right now that those people are loyal to Mark Golden.
Right.
So anything said them are gonna do. So
So no, I understand.
look at it,
I understand.
it's not gonna happen next 5 years. Jamaica being a
No,
republic
no, no.
in the next 10 years. When Jamaica will be a republic is when you have a credible opposition, that is patriotic,
Correct.
and opposition that and also you have to have a government as well that's on the same uh um mindset as the opposition. Yeah, you understand?
All right, let's
So
look at what we do know, right? Versus what we don't know. All right, what we do know is that currently you have a JLP party that is in complete support of the Republic, right? You have a PMP party that is fragmented because of Mark Golding and because of what's going on. I think, and this is one of the things I was saying earlier in the conversation, that I believe that what I'm hoping for Andrew Holness and his MPs to make that olive branch reach out to not the MPs, to not the Mark Golding, because they're gonna do whatever, but to the people of Jamaica, the PMPs of Jamaica, and support. Look, you don't have to change being a PMP, but support candidates in the PNP party that is speaking about the growth of Jamaica, not the bullcrap rhetoric, but people in the PNP party that want to see Jamaica become a republic, that want to see these things. Support those candidates over the candidates that are loyal to Mark Golding and want it, because you do have some, maybe small, but you do have some of those members that's still in the PNP party, and you do have people out there that will get into politics that believing in that same type of thing. Because until we change that and this was the point I was making earlier as well, is until you have two parties that have a vision for Jamaica to grow, and that vision to grow, the only debate is going to be how we're going to get to that goal. I want to get to that goal, but you might say, well, I'm going to use one ladder and climb up the side of the wall, and the other man might say, you know what, I'll take one rock climbing gears and stuff and climb up the wall. But ultimately the goal is this one thing. Until that is where we are in the politics of Jamaica, there will never be a chance for us to move to the level that we can be. And right now there is not. You have the JLP saying, I'm going to take this ladder and try to climb to the top of the mountain, and the PNP I say, up at the top of the mountain is not where we need to go. We need to go down to the bottom and work out what going on the bottom. And that's the problem, because we're going in two different directions. And that's the problem with the country. That's the problem with the politics of Jamaica. And until we change that, I'll tell you this, right? And like we said when we started to do this, that we won't discuss U.S. policy, but I'm just going to make a quick point, right? I remember a time in U.S. policy when the goal of the Republican and the Democrats was always to go to a certain thing, pay down the debt, make sure you don't leave debt for your kids, marriages between a man and a woman. All of these things were the same ideals that both parties expound. However, there came a time when one party decided to go a different direction and says, well, listen, you know what? You have the right to do whatever, and a man and woman can marry and whatever. And you have another party that says, I believe in God and I'm not gonna support that, and they start branching off. So then now the country becomes fragmented and people go off in a different. So now you see it in America where the two parties are heading in two complete different directions, right? Then the both parties want to take the country in complete different direction, not heading for the same goal, but different ways to get there. No, it's two different directions. This is what has happened in Jamaica. I believe that Guyana is a little bit way out in their politics to get to that point, because I think Jamaica got to a place where Jamaica is stable through Andrew Holness, and thank God that they didn't turn it over to Mark Golding, but through Andrew Holness, Jamaica, and listen, let's give credit where credit is due. Through Bruce Golding, who started it, and Andrew Holness, and I dare say Michael Manley's ideas, right? Through those people thinking of where Jamaica should be, right? And those sentiments that is shared by, I believe, all three of those men, right? Jamaica has moved to a place where we're on the cusp of being in a status where a very, very strong developing country status, where we are having surplus, we're moving the country in the right direction, versus PNP that's completely fragmented at this time and is moving away from that and going back to a handout mentality. Let me give you food, let me give you clothes, let me give you everything where you need, and you don't need for work, or you don't need to do nothing to get where you want. And that's where the PNP is today. Hopefully, I'm praying to God, and anybody that listens to this podcast or whatever that's in politics, that's considering politics, I really, really need people to get involved with the PNP party and try to get it in line. Mark Golding is not it, and I don't think he has the temperament or the mindset to be it. I think his thinking, and sometimes, when it then said bend the tree from the young, if the tree grow too old, you can't bend it. So I think he's in a place where he's on a capitalist bench, and the capitalist bench that he's on is not to support, not to help Jamaica. Not like America is a capitalist where say everybody bit well, and try to line your pocket. But he's on the thing that he gets into power, he pass on the critical infrastructures and things to his friends and cronies and people around him that can suck the money out of the economy, that can use it and then ultimately line his pocket. Mark Golding, and mark my word, if Mark Golding stayed in politics for the next 5 years to the next election, the only reason why he's going to do that because he wants to become prime minister. The minute Mark Golding gets into office, he will win the first term. If he wins the first term, he will stay in politics. And the minute he loses, not like you that have like Andrew would lose and come back again and run as long as he stayed it. That man is gonna already done the damage that he needs to do. He's gonna take whatever money he makes and he's gonna disappear. Back to England, back to wherever. And the only people who are gonna left with the bag, holding the bag, is Jamaican people. And the poorest of Jamaican people is gonna be left with holding the bag. Mark my word.
Well, that's the whole idea.
Mark my word.
That's the whole idea. People have to get involved right now, and that's one of the reasons why I created this channel, is because I want to educate people about what's going on in the politics and to prevent Mark Golding and the Rise PNP from getting into power. Because if these people get into power in 2030, Jamaica, all the progress that Jamaica has made is going to be wiped out. But I have hope that Mark Golding and the Rise PNP will never get into power because they're too stupid.
Well, I'm not gonna say that because I hear them say that about Republicans and they are the ones that's running the US now.
The reason
So
I'm saying that is because if you look at the campaign that they have run, it's just gimmicks. There's no substance to their campaign. They're all over the place. Their manifesto, for example, if you look at their manifesto, they put out a manifesto with no talking, like no policies pretty much. And then they had to make a manifesto 2.0 to supplement the manifesto that they put out in the first place. Then them complaints that the JLP thief them ideas and all this stuff. I think the
so
PNP
but that doesn't mean, right? In my opinion, it doesn't mean that they can't learn from their mistakes.
Let me make my point. The PNP currently right now, the way Mark Golding is as a person is he wants to rule by iron fist. You understand? Mark Golding don't want nobody to go against him. And if you listen to PNP Insider, like for example, Karen Cross and JPU, the personality that Mark Golding has,
Yeah.
camera on. If you listen to JPU and Karen Cross, a PNP Insider, and you listen to the what they have to say about Mark Golding and the personality of Mark Golding, you understand that Mark Golding is a very selfish person and him all getting their own way. So by him staying on as party leader next 5 years, him just gonna make it easier for Andrew to win a 4th term in office. Because what Andrew has to know as prime minister is that he has to perform. He has to go in, continue doing, reduce the crime, lower poverty, unemployment, just perform, just do him best. And in 2030, the PNP now have nothing to say to the Jamaican people. The only way PNP can win in 2030 is if Andrew Holness threw away in victory by not performing. So
Right.
that's what I'm
And
say.
that's important. That's important because we don't know what Andrew will do this next 5 years, right? So let's hope that he does what he has been doing. He continue to support the reduction of crime in Jamaica the way he has, and the police department has continue get the resources they need to do what they to do their jobs, and he continue to find outside investments and things that come into Jamaica. He doesn't sell out whatever it is that Jamaica still own, and he tries to retrieve some of the assets that Jamaica has lost during the previous administrations, and see how he can rebuild Jamaica. I don't write the PNP off. I think that if they get rid of Mark Golding and they bring somebody in with some sense of loyalty to Jamaica, and truly genuinely love Jamaica and want Jamaica to prosper, then
Well,
I think they may have a shot, you know.
no, the reason
But
why look,
they have to come with ideas.
I don't write off the PNP. You understand? But the moves that they have
Mhm.
made so far is nothing in the interest of Jamaica. And for the PNP party, it seems like
Right,
their only interest is in Mark Golden. And
right,
if I,
and that's the
if
problem.
if the PNP was making decisions to win and making decisions on the behalf of Jamaica, the one person that I saw on the PNP side that could have give Andrew a run for him money is Lisa Hanna, and Lisa Hanna got pushed out of the party.
It's about the politics now. Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa Hanna gone,
Yeah,
right?
and
Which
she out of politics. But she's out of politics. She's out of politics because of Mark Golding's. She don't say it, but it's the truth. Because of
but
Mark Golding's uh, idea and Mark Golding way of running things. So and not only Lisa Hanna, I think there's other PMP stalwarts that would kind of give Andrew a run, but their
who
voice is quieted because what
who
they want to see for Jamaica is not what Mark Golding want for Jamaica, and
who
and and so they're not. There's no encouragement of idea. If the head is bad, the body gonna be bad as well. And the problem
but
is that the head of the PMP right now is very bad.
who wanted PMP that you see that can take over?
Well, I don't know a lot of the PMP counselors
There-
and stuff like that, but I
There's
I
no
I know for a fact, right? No, I have a
no
problem with the guy that just won when Portland, that the way name Buchanan, Isaac Buchanan. I feel like that's one of the stupidest election that race that I seen, because I don't, like I say, I don't know why the people of Portland voted the way they did. They live there, they know they whatever, but I think from what I see from outside looking in on what this woman was doing there, she's done a lot, and for all the hard work that she's put in, the repayment she got from the people of Portland was to kick her out of office. And then they put somebody in office that I believe is just a mouthpiece for whatever anybody want him to be a mouthpiece for, right? Because I don't believe he's gonna do anything. I think he's an opportunist. I think that he uses the clout with Vibes Cartel to get people to gravitate towards him, because had that didn't happen with Vibes Cartel, he would not be elected. I guarantee you. So he just used that to do it. So for me, it's like, okay, let's see what he does. Now, he can be a test subject for the PNP party, because if he goes in and perform, right? And he goes in and he does things for Portland and show, look, I can do way more than what Action Hand was doing. Then you can look at it and say, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And the rest of the PMP people, if they start working for their communities, but one of the big trick they play on Jamaican people is that when their party is not in power, you have to also remember that the councillors that win whatever constituency is still responsible. They still get money. They still can do work, but they don't do nothing, and they blame it on the party that's in power. But that's wrong, because they get the money and use it for them and them friend, but they don't take care of it. So that's when you got to know that don't blame it on the party that's in power. Blame it on the guy that's responsible to get the work done. And
Well,
until Jamaican people, again, this is all in Jamaican people's hand, though. You know, it's not something that.
No, what I'll say is that I agree with what you said. Like it's all in Jamaica people hand also, but I want to wrap it up here because it's over 2 hours now.
All right, yeah,
2 and 20.
we'll talk again. Yes, yeah. All right, brother. All right.
We'll come after the swearing in of Andrew, so we'll come back.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
All right. Talk later.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Talk.